Layoffs in technology just keep coming. The latest, Google cutting hundreds of jobs in its engineering,
turning out to be a bad year for working.
They are the latest tech companies announcing layoffs. Google, Amazon, and others announced cuts earlier this month.
What is going on? Mass layoffs already happened back in 2023, and now they're happening again this year. It is a difficult time for those who have been laid off, but it's also a really hard time for those who are trying to get their first roles in the tech industry and have that uncertainty of whether there'll be roles to get. And for me, I can definitely relate to that. I graduated from university during COVID. So you know what that means? I graduated at a time where so many people were getting redundant and laid off from their jobs because of the pandemic. The job market was terrible. And at that time, I felt like it's gonna be so difficult and competitive to get a job in this current market. What's happening to the job market right now is not quite as severe as what was happening during COVID, but it's still a difficult time of uncertainty for those trying to get their first roles. Today, let's dive in and find out exactly why this is happening in the tech industry right now, why people are getting laid off, and why this is happening again. So it's funny, many people are actually speculating the role of AI in the recent layoffs this year. And I've gone in and done a bit of research on this, and the role of AI in the recent layoffs. It's not that AI is taking over people's jobs right now, but there is a priority for big tech and big tech companies to focus on engineers and talent that specializes in AI over others. This is the direction that big companies are moving in, and they need specialists in AI to help them build these new AI systems. So the focus on AI engineers or any AI related talent will be prioritized over some other areas who are focusing on older technology. So yeah, companies are prioritizing talent that focuses on AI. But it does not mean that AI and ChatGPT is literally replacing software engineers or hardware engineers or any type of engineer. But it does show that companies are moving in the direction of AI and focusing on building their talent in that area. Honestly, that is not the main reason that these layoffs are happening. The main reason that layoffs are happening right now is due to overhiring. During the pandemic, there were massive hiring sprees from big tech companies like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, etc. They hired so many people during and after that COVID period to deal with the increasing demand for their technology. As time has passed, some of these big tech companies have realized that they have overhired and they have so much more personnel than needed. So they are trimming and cutting off and laying off people, and this can reduce their expenses as a firm, not paying the salaries of these people. So a big reason for these layoffs is the efforts to reduce the expenses of these big tech companies. But also, they're also doing this as a way to move faster. When there's a massive company with lots of personnel and lots of managers, things can be a lot slower as they can pass through different approval systems. There can be so many more discussions, and at big companies, it's harder to move really fast as you would in smaller companies like startups, where decision making is so much easier with a lot less people. This really reminds me of Elon Musk and what he did at Twitter, or what we now call X.
Well, at this point.
What percentage of your staff did you fire at Twitter? One of the great business stories of the year.
I think we're about 20% of the original size.
So 80% left.
Yes.
So.
I mean, a lot of people voluntarily.
Sure. But it's 80% are gone from the day you took over.
That's correct, yes.
So how do you run the company with only 20% of the staff?
It turns out you don't need that many people to run Twitter.
When Elon Musk took over Twitter, he fired so many people because he realized that you don't need this many people to run this company. And after the firing that took place and the reduction in staff, they still continued to operate, and a lot has changed. Despite the massive drop in people working at Twitter, they're still able to run and function in the same way. So that technically means Twitter didn't really need that many people as they had to run the firm. A lot of the time, big tech companies are running with more people than necessary. So when they have opportunities to reduce expenses for them to move faster, they do that. When I see layoffs and things like this, it reminds me about companies, especially big companies, and how they really see their employees as numbers. One of the things during these layoffs that really bugs me is that a lot of these people who are being laid off are not being laid off for poor performance or because they're not doing their work. They're being laid off because a group of people higher up that they've never really seen or spoken to before have decided that the company is moving in a different direction. This is not because they haven't given their all, they're not performing amazingly, but someone somewhere has decided that your job is no longer needed in the company. For that reason, you're laid off. And that can be really difficult for someone who is working and providing for themselves or their family, or even just had loads of plans for their next salary and is just losing their job just like that with no actual reasoning. It is another reminder that as an employee, loyalty to your employer can definitely be in vain. You could be super loyal to a company and get laid off just like that. One of the positives about the layoffs that are happening is that, of course, big tech companies are laying off talented employees, but there are loads of other companies out there that are taking in these employees from these big tech companies who have great experience at top companies and are great talent. So for a lot of the people leaving Google or Meta or wherever, all they've got to do is raise their hand and say I'm available, and loads of companies will come running into their inbox ready to pay them to join their firm. For those who are trying to get into the tech industry for the first time and who are super worried about tech layoffs and the things going on, my encouragement to you would be not to worry about your future. Like I said, when I was graduating, the job market was terrible because of COVID, and honestly, there are ups and downs with the job market, and your focus shouldn't be on what's happening, but on the skills that you're learning. Keep following the trends of the industry, go after skills that are really in demand, and you will be just fine. Thanks so much for watching. Follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram, and I'll see you in the next video.